Okay, for this section of the tutorial, we're going to take the pages that we've made earlier. Here I'm showing you how I took some of my tissue paper pages that I've made on my gel plate, and I ripped them up and put them on half of the sheets of watercolor paper. And again, this is just the standard watercolor paper that I got from Arteza. It comes in a big pad and it's cold pressed. I really like it. Now here I'm taking some stationery envelopes and I'm putting some double-sided tape on it, and I'm going to go ahead and stick it onto the other side of these pages. This is going to give little pockets to put things in and for me to store notes or letters, because this is going to be an active working journal. As you can see, I'm clumsy and I didn't really edit the video too much, so you could just see my process. I'm going to go ahead and stop here and you can watch what I'm doing, but I'm going to go ahead and attach the envelopes, which I put some stickers and stuff on them just to make them look kind of artsy, and I'll probably decorate them as I work in the journal. After I'm done doing this, I'm going to take the cards that went with the envelopes and I'm going to put them on other pages, because those will fold out and open and I can write notes in them, or I can use them to decorate because it is a really good cardstock. You can use other envelopes. You can recycle or upcycle envelopes that you've received from friends. Just you want to have pockets in your journal, places and things that will inspire you to use it, because it's not just about making the art journal, it's going to be about being able to use it in a way that motivates you artistically. So go ahead and watch this. I'll stop talking for a bit and I'll come back in a little while. So here I've got some bits and baubles that I cut up and created. Just scraps of paper, some images, used rubber stamps to make them on cardstock or on scraps of watercolor paper. Also, I've got some Yupo paper here with some alcohol inks, and I want to make sure I incorporate those into my journal. I'm going to cut some circles out here to put on those little black fold-out pieces. I like using the black cardstock in my journal because I like to doodle with the gel pens. You don't have to use it. You could use pink. You can use whatever color you want. But again, I'm just going to keep adding on little bits and pieces to the pages. And the next step, we're going to go ahead and apply the pages or put the journal together. You'll see that I'm using a glue here, and that is glue. It's P as in Paul, V as in Victor, and A as in Alpha. And this glue is a bookbinding glue. I buy a big bottle of it at on Amazon, and I love using this, especially for putting my journals together. So you'll see that I use it throughout this whole process. It has a great hold, and it's not acidic, so it won't stain your pages. And it also has a little bit of flexibility when it's dry. That's why it's a bookbinding glue. So I'm going to go ahead and continue with the process, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so here I've got all my pages together that I've created so far. Again, these are all watercolor pages, so they are the heavy cold press 140-pound paper. These are the ones that I sewed and put on the machine. I just thought you'd like to see the pockets that I put in there. This was, again, just little bits of things that I did, and it's not necessary. If you don't have a sewing machine, you don't have to sew. Just wait and we'll go ahead and do the next step. Or you could glue some pieces into your journal, or staple in some fold out pages, or make some pockets with double-sided tape. You want to have places to hide little things in your journal, or things that will inspire you to create and work in your journal throughout the year. So I'm going to continue showing you all my pages here. On the black pieces of cardstock, I take a lot of the pages that I draw or I create. I will take them to my scanner and I'll print them out on cardstock. That's printable cardstock. It's not a very heavy duty cardstock, and it's not the same size as the watercolor paper. But I went ahead and glued them with the PVA glue to the black cardstock, and that way I can use them in my journal. After I finish showing you all these pages, I'm going to go ahead and start putting the journal together. Now at this point, it's going to be taking pages and gluing them together with the PVA glue. So we'll talk more about that in a minute. Alright, so here we're going to start talking about how we're going to assemble the journal. I'm going to use the same PVA glue, and I'm going to take the folded pages, which I've organized in the order I want them in my journal. I'm going to use a paintbrush, and I'm going to bring the glue throughout the whole page. Then I'm going to line them up as carefully as I can, stand up the middle, smooth it down, and make sure that I line up the pages as well as I can. Now, because these pages, even if you line them up perfectly, your signature will tend to start turning towards one side. So I only work in groups of maybe 10 pages or 8, 9, 10. Don't go over 10 pages or 10 of these signatures, because even though you try to line them up, they still sometimes tend to pull to one side. So it's better to have a couple of these little groups of 10, and then in the morning, once everything's dry, go ahead and glue those booklets or those sections together. This is a very chunky journal, so that's how I did this process. And once it's dry, it's easier to line everything up and get a really even lined up journal. So in the next part, we're going to go ahead and start working on cover and coming up with some binding, and I can't wait to share that with you. So I look forward to seeing you later, and if you have any questions, shoot me a line. Take care and have a great day. Bye.